Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inta, and welcome back to the channel for the Apollo gameplay reveal that they are about to show off on the Titan Talk for OB10, of course. Seems like he's going to be getting some pretty cool +1s and looks really good in-game as well. So, yeah, we'll check him out. And, of course, with all of my patch review stuff that goes down on these Mondays, I'll have another video coming out shortly after this one that will be the full OB10 showcase. Everything else that isn't Apollo that is going to be in the patch, you know, any new aspects, new items, gameplay changes, balance if they reveal it, all that kind of stuff will be in that other video. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you want to catch that one as it comes out. That'll be out shortly after this one. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into Apollo.
It's Apollo.
There he is. There he is.
He looks pretty good. Oh, I gotta turn on laptop.
And on the conquest map as
well.
well.
See the laptop? Yeah.
Or showcasing his ult or something.
I am close to the mic though.
Yes. Okay, they can hear the laptop. Great. So he's looking really great. I think like the model got a decent update. We'll look at it more out of match.
That's looking good, man.
But the face looks a lot better. He looks a lot more.
His shoulder pads
like
look a bit more
boy,
beefy.
I would say. So I think he's looking pretty good.
Ability icons look good as always.
Kit-wise, what should people expect from this ranged hunter type character that's been around
+1s, let's see.
Apollo is an interesting character because when he was first released to where he ended up being in Smite 1, he actually got a lot of quality of life improvements over the time. He got new ways of getting his audacity up. He got just lots of utility. His the amount of utility he has is really, really insane. And so when we looked at Apollo to kind of +1 him, it was actually really difficult to find a spot. So you'll actually, most of his kit is pretty much identical because we think his audacity loop feels really good. He has enough ways to build it up that are really interesting. His one is a straight damage source ability, just feels good to use. The mesmerize utility, the dash utility, the team buffing utility, the global ult presence, they're all really, really good. And so
he does already have a lot.
+1, it had a very high risk of just bloating him. So we focused on something that was a bit just kind of new rather than just being a let's just make this ability more powerful.
Yep.
And so as some people have already kind of guessed because of things that they know ahead of time, Apollo's ult is the place where we did the +1.
And disclaimer, chat.
We can't show it.
We can't show it, but disclaimer that there are still a few things that are temp in what we're showing off today.
Yes.
This is an early look, so when I show you the ultimate, there are going to be some temp effects on some stuff. So
yes. So yeah, obviously temp effects, they'll be there. We're working on getting them all fixed up today. But his ultimate will actually now
oh, his auto animations look kind of nice, man.
The chariot. So there's a few rules on this. So when you ult, you'll be able to see the circle. That circle is going to be replaced with a VFX. It's basically like a, hey, everyone get in, ride the chariot with me. When they actually interact with it, so you interact to get into it, you'll turn into a ball of light, kind of like how Athena, when she turns into, like, she dashes with the one, she can turn into a ball of light. You turn the ball of light and you basically ride along with the chariot. And then when he lands, you'll eject wherever he lands as close as possible to where like you're offset left a little bit to him when you're like flying as a ball.
Please don't tell me his whole team can do that.
So he can actually take people across now. So if you're in duo lane and there's a fight breaking out that you feel like, oh, there's like 3 people, 3v3 in mids happening right now. We actually want to go join that. You can take your support with you. You could leverage more split push. You could do a lot of different things with this. And we felt like this was just a cool way to make the ult feel like it has more team presence. And it's not just a strict all the time buff to a kit that already has a lot of stuff going on.
Yes. And I am in dev cheat mode right now, so I have infinite mana. Did we end up making it so that it does cost more mana if you're ferrying people?
It's not in yet, but that will be. So balance considerations.
Okay, more mana per ferrying person?
You can only take 2 people with you. You can't take 5 or 4.
Okay, 2 people max.
You can only take 2. When you take people, the mana cost that you will take will be increased. And that's just the way that I was going to implement it was, and it's just again not in yet, is if you decide to take 1 person, it's just a flat amount more. If you take 2, it's the same amount. Just because I want the penalty to be pretty aggressive so that even if you take 1 person, it feels pretty impactful. If I had that scale with 2, you probably just go instantly, which I don't think really feels that fun. So finding the balance between the fun and the balance of the effect, but you will take more mana. If we also have a lot of other,
this is gonna be fucking carnage, man.
This is one of our first worries when we first got it in was, is this gonna potentially like just fundamentally break the game in a way that people have really hard times playing around? Other things we can do if it is OP is also slow him down. We can make him go slower because obviously you're carrying more weight, so you gotta
that makes
can't
sense.
Go as fast. So we have a lot of knobs to turn. The first one we're gonna do is more mana cost while you're going, but we think this is just really cool team utility. And Apollo's base kit, we just focused on really making sure that the base kit felt fluid, felt good, worked as you expected, had good feedback on it because largely we think his kit stands kind of as is. We have a lot of kits like that.
That's pretty
where
fair,
the
yeah.
kit
Apollo
release
has
kind of
enough
holds
in
up
his
to
base kit, I would say.
a test of time. We think Apollo's one of them, so we think this +1 is just interesting.
Yeah, and I would say in our dev test, we've had some interesting, like, oh, there's a couple people that are trying to push down our Phoenix. Somebody has to back to stop that, and then they hop in the chariot and they go to Fire Giant or something,
Yes.
right? So there's a lot of, like, macro play that you can do that's really interesting.
Yeah. Or you can take your ally to a fight and then lose a 3v1 like
Yes.
happened in our playtest.
Yes, we have
The
done that.
game can snowball pretty badly from that point, but lots of fun stuff you can do with him.
But other than that, you know, he's kind of the Apollo you know and love, right? He's got these basic attacks that build up his Audacity passive.
His animations
And
look
once
good.
it gets to, here, I gotta go. Actually, I should spawn a bot. That would be a smarter way of doing this.
Also, no it's scaling by the sounds
Once
of
you
it.
get to 10 stacks, then your next 5 autos are faster.
Yep, 100% attack speed with those 5 autos. Also, one other note is this is his new auto attack sound when he got reworked. I've talked with Kellen a little bit about making that kind of a middle ground between the old sound and the new sound. The new sound has a lot of like clinking metal that some people didn't necessarily like, but the old sound is pretty hollow and it doesn't have much oomph to it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna look at trying to make a nice balance between the two rather than just reverting to old Apollo sound, but that's not in yet. So yeah.
Okay.
Also, the VFX package, if you use his abilities, like if you just uses 2, uses 3, you can see he has a lot of really cool VFX. If he uses 1, he gets different notes that happen at the end. That's that looked like a 16th note. Yeah, 16.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Got a little
that's
treble
cool.
clef, bass clef. Okay, sorry. I play guitar, so I can't actually read music. I can just read tab.
But yeah, it's just a lot of really cool touches to his kit, and obviously we still have some stuff we need to do. But
Yeah, and even the
he's looking
dash
really good.
just like looks good, feels good. I think that we did a really good job on these effects of making really clear like where you're hitting and where you're not hitting.
Yeah.
Like the edges of the effects are very clean without being overwhelming. I
Yeah,
love this,
nah,
like, little,
animations
like,
and effects
buff
wise,
that
he's
it's
looking
got.
really
It's-
good, man.
The little like whatever that
Well,
buff
yeah,
is.
so that buff is, I just fixed that earlier.
Okay.
That's the, it's his protection buff. It's supposed to be around him, but
Yeah.
it's on the floor right now because sockets are weird.
Yeah, and we still are a little ways out from this actually going live. We're just giving you guys an early look. So
Yep. Is there a way to stop people from entering your own? Nope, there is not a way to stop, because it's one of those things where it's like, how would you actually stop people from doing it?
and they have to
You could
come over
recast
here and
it.
interact with you, right? It's
Yeah.
like sometimes it's like, especially with teams
During the
that aren't
pre-fight, you
paying
can recast
attention,
the
it's
ult
like,
and block
please,
people
please come with me,
jumping
please.
in.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't. So it does require your teammates to pay attention. Can we get an Uber driver Apollo skin?
He does have the race car skin.
He does have the race car. We could probably reskin that. Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
But cool, yeah, so
That's Apollo. He's pretty straightforward, but he
Yeah.
is, he does what it says on the tin. He is Apollo. He plays like Apollo. He feels good. He's been good in our play tests. I have been blown up by him many times recently.
Yeah.
But aspect Apollo is a whole different thing.
Oh, it's an
Should we
aspect.
can I switch
Okay.
to aspect?
yeah, you can
there's-
just,
what's the
it's just
command?
test talent, space Apollo underscore talent underscore.
Space Apollo. There we go. Okay. Aspect of harmony.
Yep, aspect of harmony. So,
Should I just mouse over this, or you want to talk about it
yeah,
before I mouse?
you can mouse over it so you can read through it. So I'll just read through it. Audacity now grants free So Beautiful cast, but no attack speed. So Beautiful
Ooh.
scales with item health, lowers enemy attack speed, and grants nearby allies attack speed on god or boss hit, but deals less base damage. Serenade now shields nearby allies, but applies no protections, and buffing an ally grants Audacity attack. So I actually changed
Ah,
it.
so it turns me into a support. Slash maybe it's
Serenade will
all in,
grant
but
shield,
probably a
and While
support.
they're shielded, they will have the protections, but once the shield breaks, they lose those protections. So need to update there, but basically the idea here is that this is support Apollo aspect. He's a high utility hunter in general. Having an AoE
That's cool,
CC
man.
Mez is pretty tanky. It's good tank utility. Having a dash that knocks
Yeah, I like
people
the
up
two
is
giving
really
a
good
shield, that's
utility.
sick.
Having a dash that slows people and gives like a 6-second movement speed buff is really good. And so we wanted to play with that more. So the idea here is that you can build up your Audacity by actually buffing your teammates, and we made buffs more applicable and added new ones. So you can see there, as you use your 1, you hit and a flying note goes flying to them. That's an attack speed buff for them. You apply
Okay.
slow to the enemy. Your 2 gives a shield to your teammates and does the normal mez stuff. That counts as a buff. Your 3 also gives a buff. Every time you give a buff or do any of the normal things to get Audacity stacks, you get Audacity stacks. And you can see here that he actually... He
I have infinite cooldowns on, so it's hard to see, I guess.
Well, actually, you're actually showing it just fine
Okay, cool.
here, because what ends up happening is when you get to 10 Audacity, your icon changes. That's your free one, but you can start building towards your next one right now. So
Okay, so you get one
you're
free
actually
one.
building toward your next soap. So if you just keep auto attacking and get like go to 10 again, you actually chill at 10. And then you can so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. And that will actually be a real thing you can do in game.
Oh, man.
That's pretty cool.
Very strong.
Yep.
And so
Lot of
beautiful
attack speed
scales
buff as
not
well
off
for your
physical
allies.
power. It scales entirely off max health from items.
Okay, so you want to be building a lot of health items if you're
Yeah.
playing.
This is sick,
support
man.
Aspect Apollo.
Yep, you build your Gauntlet of Thieves is going to be really core on him. Health item is going to be really core on him. And then your focus is really to buff your teammates, bring that buffing utility. We had this the idea of him being a bard, right? Like that's really where the inspiration for this came from.
Yeah.
is
That makes
he
total
does
sense,
all
to be
the
fair,
musical
yeah.
things. You
And
get
he
to
has
play
a-
the classic bard role.
There were a lot of like supporty elements to his kit already,
Yeah.
especially with the taxi ultimate, right? I think that also ties a little bit more to the support playstyle. I mean,
Yeah,
it works
for
as a
sure.
hunter, but it also is interesting in a support kind of playstyle. So
Yeah. And then some people were already mentioning one of the things we also discussed with the Apollo +1 was, does this make Horus useless when he ends up coming into the game? Horus Ult was already something I wanted to take another stab at when we get to him. I was the actual designer on Horus, and
good job, one of my favorites.
He's a really fun character. The kind of dropship ultimate was really, really cool. But there is some clunk to there. I think there's some things that we can do to make that more fluid. I think we can make it more cool for him to just use on his own. That's where I would have most of my +1 ideas for him anyway. So I think we're going to be able to do pretty good differentiation. And he still has the advantage of it's still a lot more surprising than Apollo's is, and it can actually move teams like Apollo. So I think we have some room for differentiation there.
Yeah, I think I agree on
So
that.
a lot of fun stuff here. I think everybody's excited about both Apollo and Apollo's aspect.
Yep.
Right, that is pretty much it for Apollo, though. They're going to move into the rest of the stuff for OB10 and everything else that's coming, which, as I said at the start of the video, is going to be in a video that's coming out shortly after this one on the channel. I like to separate the God reveal and the other stuff from the patch into two separate videos, just so I can get this one out quickly. I don't have to do any editing for this one. It's just me reacting to it, whereas I do a fully edited Titan Talk recap for the rest of the stuff. But yeah, Apollo looks really cool, man. Like, visually, looks really good, I think. His animations are really sick. His model looks good. Big fan of that. The aspect seems super sick, man. Like, this might actually be a genuinely viable hunter support. Like, Cupid exists, but isn't really that good. You know, it's kind of a little bit of a meme. It's not a complete meme. It does kind of work, but it's not really like anything super good or like really viable. But this could be genuinely pretty viable, man. Like, being able to give your teammates a ton of attack speed. He already has a lot of supportive elements in his kit, like buffing his allies with movement speed and mezzing enemies instantly and stuff like that. And the mezz being a shield as well is kind of big. You know, max health scaling on as well. This could genuinely kind of work as like an actual support kit, I think. And then the ultimate +1, I'm a little bit scared of that, to be honest. I think maybe that should be an aspect only thing potentially. You know, you can only bring allies with him if he's got the aspect on, so there's a little bit of a trade-off there. But then I guess you know, base Apollo has no +1 at that point, so they might not want to do that. Still though, I'm a little bit scared of that. You know, Apollo's already a split push machine. Split pushing is already way stronger in Smite 2 than it was in Smite 1 basically ever. You know, thanks to the way minions stack up, the way you can easily get a lot of Queen Nagas and stuff like that to take down towers and phoenixes. Towers in general are squishier. Phoenixes, I don't know if they're squishier. They might be, but they kind of feel like they are. So yeah, split pushing is already kind of insane in Smite 2, and Apollo, one of the premier split pushes in the game, because he can just split push, and then when someone comes to deal with him, he just ults over to the fight and makes it a 5v4 for his team. So there's almost like no risk to split pushing with Apollo. You know, the risk of split pushing is that the enemy can take a 5v4 on your team, but they just kind of can't when Apollo's in the game. So I'm a little bit scared about that, because, you know, not only can Apollo do that, which you would have been able to do anyway, but he can now take someone else with him. You know, he can come there with his jungler or something. They do a double split push, or even with his soul laner, so they can tank the tower and he can hit the tower. And then, you know, if they ever send any enemies to deal with them, they just go over to Fire Giant or whatever. It's going to be kind of scary, I think. But only time will tell. We'll have to see when Apollo releases next Monday. But overall, I think he looks really good. You know, the aspect is really sick, I think, and his animations and the way he looks and stuff is really good. But what do you guys think? Do you think Apollo looks cool? Do you like his aspects? Let me know down below, and I will catch you guys for another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.